Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Round Up. We're going to cover the games from last night in the LCS and, all four regions actually: LCS, LCK, LPL, LEC, then preview LCK, LPL, and LEC for tomorrow. Just make sure that I'm recording and not streaming. I am. Currently 106 and 50 in predictions. So the recap: FlyQuest and 100 Thieves. FlyQuest 5 and 0, 100 Thieves 4 and 1. Fly would win. They're 8th in the power rankings. Prince went 11-1-9, 36% of the team's damage. Vikla was MVP in mid, 7-1-9 on a Silas. Bjergsen led the way for 100 Thieves, going 2-5-4, 27%. So, definitely the takeaway from this one, there was quite a mid gap. And, you see all those kills by Prince. You see the 20 KDA and all that damage. And you say, wow, Prince must have dominated. And he did very well. But in the early game, the laning phase was very, very puzzling. Vikla was freed up to be able to go to bot lane and to leave lane and create pressure. And somehow, Bjerg ended up behind in farm, lost prio, and allowed Vikla to somehow return to lane without using his teleport and stay ahead. So, I'm saying that as a puzzled person. Like, how did that happen? Talia into Silas, nonetheless. So, doing that created a gap. It allowed Vikla to create gaps in other places around the rift. And, there were some contentious team fights. There's a really, really nice flank by Spica in the mid game that really blew it open for FlyQuest. Those two instances there, the ability to leave lane by Vikla and Spica getting that really good flank on Sejuani really just started the snowball, and it went out of control from there. After the game, we saw Prince get emotional. If you missed the clip, you should watch it. He got emotional during a jersey swap with Doublelift. I think that's pretty awesome. Like, he's showing that he is a human, which is nice, because you don't see that. You don't see jersey swaps really in esports either, and I think like that, or at least them not being covered like that. And you could see that Prince is not lying when he said that Doublelift is the reason why he plays AD carry. And it really boggles a lot of people's minds, because the guy's from Korea. Why is he doing that? But if you really think about it, Doublelift's been around since really, really early on. Before Deft, before Ruler. So if Prince has been following League since then, I mean, it's feasible. And it was definitely something that was, I'm not saying it's awesome that he cried, but it's awesome that this moment was so big for him. So that's really cool. TSM and CLG. TSM win. Both were 2 and 3. Neo went 7-1-6, 25% of damage on a Sivir, I believe. Solo 3-1-15 was MVP on a Scion. Palafox 3-3-4, 31% of damage on Jace. This was a cluster, definitely. TSM had the edge for majority of it, but couldn't finish it because they're TSM and that's CLG, and neither team are really that clean. And it got to a point where Solo on a Scion was like, we're just tanking everything. We're going to tank all the CC. We're going to tank all the damage. We're going to tank the turrets. Solo just took over the game as the Scion and kind of just did a bunch of work, because Boogie was pretty sus in this game. To be honest, he had his moments, but he also had some puzzling moments in the game. Maple was hit or miss. TSM get away with the win, but we're talking about teams that are middle to bottom half of the LCS, so that kind of is what it is. EG and C9. EG 21st, 3 and 2. C9 17th, 4 and 1. EG win. Jojo Pune 6-1-3, 34% of damage on Tristana was MVP. FBI 4-1-3 on Illusion, and Diplex went 1-2-2 in mid lane, 38% of damage for C9. I think he had Jace. I think it was Tristan to Jace. And Jojo played a great Trist mid game. The type of Trist mid game that I really, really, like to see. Because if you've been following along, Trist mid, and there is no reason behind it, I just think Trist mid is a fun little pick that we don't see often, but I really think it's effective in some situations. And Jojo was very aggressive on it. He actually had a moment that reminded me of like tactical Tristana or tactical Kesa and the Malphite meme and whatever that double of Siniki and Medios had on the co-streams. Him just jumping in there, not caring when they were taking top inhib was pretty funny. But EG just kind of took care of business. This was a slow one, a very, very, very slow game. I mean, I don't think we had our first kill until like 1946, I want to say. Not a very, very entertaining game. It was a Brion special. Dig and TL, Dignitas 0-5, TL 2-3, TL win. They're now 3-3, 23rd in power rankings. Harry 7-2-4 with a monstrous 40% of damage on a Syndra. Summit 4-1-6 on a K'Sante. Armit 5-3-0, 39% of damage for Dig on Jax. Probably Armit's best game he's played in years. He solo killed Summit at one point, I believe. Dig just looked absolutely awful. The bot lane is a really big problem. Spawn and Bio got gapped by Yeon and Core. And Harry had, a couple issues in mid early on, but in the mid to late game really took over, and TL did not look back. Pioshik, he had a weird build, but at the same time, I don't think TL was ever going to lose this game against Dignitas. Despite how bad TL are playing, this is one of their cleaner games from start to finish. Summit having a redemption game, even though his one death is a solo kill. It was one of his better games, and I don't know if TL... It's hard to really read. TL are probably dropping out of the top 25 now because, they lost yesterday, and I thought, hey, 2 days ago, I was like, maybe they're going to look decent, and this weekend, TL did not impress me. Immortals and GG. Immortals 2-3. Golden Guardians 1-4. GG win. Gory 4-1-5. 30% damage on Silas was MVP. Stixay, another very good game out of Stixay. 8-4 in bot lane on the Callista. Tactical 0-2-2. 28% of damage for Immortals. Stixay, like I said, very good weekend. He and Huhi, Ezreal, I think it was Ezreal Karma 2 days ago. And then Callista Renata yesterday. And those two lanes are not meta lanes, really, right? We're seeing Sivir, Zeri, Caitlyn, Ashe, Varus, a bit of a Aphelios. But these guys played Callista and Ezreal and did well. Beating CLG and Golden Guardians is nothing to write home about. I'm not, super impressed by these wins. But at the same time, I think I predicted both. River and Gory are getting more used to each other as time goes on, and that's going to just, snowball. The Gory ends up being MVP for that reason. He's going to be the difference maker, and it's how far River and Gory can take GG, against the other teams in the LCS, right? Against the likes of Dignitas and TSM that are definitely the other two teams that they need to get past to be in 5th place. LCK, Nongshim, and KDF, both 1-6. KDF win easily 2-0. Young J was MVP. Bulldog, 3-4-15, 25% of damage. That's a very even damage spread on this one. Doodoo, 9-0-8 in top lane. He played extremely well also. Not dying is a good thing, especially out of a player that, has a, I wouldn't say negative reputation, but Doodoo is not seen as being a great player that would, go deathless in a series. But against DN, he was fine. Vital, 3-5-1, 31% of damage. Vital's one good moment was an Aphelios ulti, I believe, in a team fight in Game 2. Otherwise, Vital was pretty, I would say, irrelevant. But Young Jay got around the rift. He made things happen in Game 1 and Game 2. And really, I couldn't find a consistent player. I felt like Taeyun had moments. But really, he didn't deal a ton of damage. He didn't have a great KDA. I guess I could have picked June. I thought June's Braum. If I recall correctly, the Braum was in this one. It's hard because I'm mixing KDF and KT, thinking two red teams. But I think June played Braum in Game 2, and he tanked a lot of damage in that one. And in a key team fight in Game 2. And it made me want to consider him, but I don't know. I think the team is looking pretty good, given where it is and given the players on it. And Nongshim is a team that needs to continue to grow. Unfortunately for them, it's a team that I also think may have been brought up too early. They won challengers, and that was good. All good. Yeah, like you won challengers. You are the best team in the LCK challenger system right now. But at the same time, during the regular split, I think they went 19 and 17, right? So it's kind of like a DRX situation. I always say they weren't the best team of 2023. They were the best team at Worlds 2023, and they won as a result. And I think Nongshim are in a similar situation where their Challengers team was the best team at the playoffs in Challengers 2022, sorry. DRX are not going to Worlds 2023 at this rate. But Worlds 2022 and Challengers 2022, that's, similar thought process I have there. I'm sure you're catching what I'm throwing down with that. KT and Gen G, I did not write down their power rankings. KT are 10th, Gen G 3rd. KT 4-3, Gen 6-1, KT win. BDD was MVP going 9-5-13, 29% of damage. Lahens 1-3-20. Pays 8-4-5, 33%. So, with this, I ended up picking BDD because I thought in Game 3 he had some good Azir shuffles, to be honest with you. There's one around top side of the Rift that really sticks out to me that started the game really, creating, a comeback for KT, if you will. And then I thought that in the final team fight, he was very impactful. And that kind of decided the series. Aiming was very good. Don't get me wrong, but he also had moments that made me be like, Pays looked decent, right? So, like, that bot lane was pretty back and forth. And for me to give Aiming, MVP, it can't be as back and forth as it is, especially because BDD is into Chovy and still had more relevance than Chovy, in my opinion, throughout the series. I thought that Gen G really wanted to go top lane and get Doran ahead, which is a weird thing, because, Doran's not 1v9ing. I don't know what Peanut was thinking with that, but, trying to get Keen in the hole, I guess, which, could make sense, but in the end, it didn't allow a player for Gen G to really take the bull by the horns and win this one. So, KT ended up getting the upset. They beat Gen G and, who else did they beat? I'm looking at the board for tomorrow. Oh, KT beat D+. So they beat two teams ranked above them in the power rankings. It'll be interesting to see Tuesday what the LCK ends up looking like in that top 25. LPL, Thunder Talk and LGD. Thunder Talk 2-2, LGD 1-3. Thunder Talk win 2-0. Yao Yao once again was MVP. Wanfeng 14-1-10, 28% of damage. Bechuan 8-1-21. Zhaozhu for LGD went 3-10-3, 32% of damage. I think he had a solo kill on Hoya as well. So Yao Yao ends up being MVP. Game 1 on the Leona, he got the team ahead. And then UCal kind of took it from there. So between Yao Yao and UCal, it was actually really close. But I thought Yao Yao, got Wanfeng and himself ahead in that matchup against LPC and Jin Zhao single-handedly, with his Leona. And after that, they were able to do a dive and other things and really open up that gap thanks to UCal's roaming. And then in Game 2, I thought Yao Yao also provided a lot of CC with the Jin. He played a good Jin game as utility. And UCal played a fantastic Cassiopeia game. So between the two, it was tough. Bechuan could have gotten it. Bechuan played fantastic, as the KDA indicates. Wanfeng played very good. Hoya just kind of played weak side and, was there pretty much. And Thunder Talk have won 3 series in a row. They may pop into the top 25 now. Very different team with Yao Yao in the lineup. IG and FPX, IG 12th, 4-1, FPX 1-3, IG win 2-0. On was MVP, 22, 2 and 18, 34% of damage, a nasty Lucian game in Game 1. His support, Wink, went 6-1 and 29. Care, 3-10 and 2, 26% of damage for FPX. This was a blowout. Outside of the top lane, Jala, who put up a really good fight against YSKM, I thought, in this series. YSKM, it's hard to tell. Is it because of less scrims? Is it less solo queue? Is Jalahu just showing up for once, like how we've expected him to this whole entire series? It's hard, whole entire season. It's hard to tell. But the top lane was pretty contested. Just the bot lane was a complete gap. Gideon as well almost got MVP. Hacker ended up stealing a Baron, which kind of took me out of giving Gideon MVP. But he got around the rift in a big way in game 1 on the Poppy, going bot lane a couple times, going top lane. Game 2 on the Sejuani, I think it was a Sejuani, into an Elise. All over the rift as well, and really did a lot of work. It was kind of like Dove was the guy I really didn't. Oh, Gideon was, yes, Gideon on IG. Thought I mixed up players there for a second, but like Dove was the guy that I kind of didn't notice much this game. But I gave it to On. On honestly played fantastic. Really, really doing a lot of work. We'll see how the meta shift or this upcoming 13.3 patch. I don't know if I'm doing that video Monday. I may end up doing it because I think I read the LPL might go to 13.3 on Monday with like very little amount of time between release date and playing it pro. If that does happen, Monday I'll have my 13.3 video out. But nevertheless, IG do take it against FPX. JDG and Weibo. So this was a banger. JDG first in the power rankings 4-0. Weibo 6th at 2-1. And Weibo win 2-1. This series was a classic. Weibo should not have won. JDG probably shouldn't have won. It felt like nobody was a winner. Xiaohu was MVP, 16, 9, and 11, 32% of damage. His Syndra in Game 3 kept them in it, despite all odds. And then Light took over. Light went 13, 6, and 15. Really did very well in Game 3 in the very mid to late game. But if it wasn't for Xiaohu kind of keeping them relatively in, shouting distance, JDG would have won. JDG are up like, I want to say 5K gold at one point. I could be wrong on that number, but they were ahead for a long time in this one. As far as I'm concerned, JDG like threw this series big time. 3-6-9 in top lane got the better of the Shy in lane, like really crushed him. 11, 11, 16, 25%. The Shy died a lot, and so I think he died 16 times. I think he went 1, 16, and 15. His Scion was impactful in the team fights it needed to be for them to win. So, how do we look at this? I say the Shy did his job, right? He was put on a champion that is effective in the mid to late game, despite however the lane goes. Now, he did get solo killed twice by 369. Maybe 3 times in this series. So that's a problem. But outside of that, he was still able to do something. He inted and then just was able to be relevant because he was on a champion that can stay relevant. And that's kind of the thing you do with an inter. You put him on a champion that if he dominates lane, great. If he loses lane, great. He can do what he's got to do. I thought Karsa had some relevance in this one against Kanavi. Kanavi made things happen. Carson made things happen as both kind of played dog champions. I would like Kanavi to be on a little bit more, carry-oriented champions if we're putting 369 was being put in a position to be a carry in this series. So I guess like 369 didn't fall on the sword this time. Kanavi did. I thought Knight played a very, very good Akali game. But in the end, Xiaohu took over in Game 3. I think he had 7 kills at one point for the team, and I think he had 7 of like 9 kills or something. Like really, really was the only person doing damage and had gold to actually be effective. And the final couple team fights, they kept them in it despite being down in kills and thinking the game was out of reach. They crawled their way back into it. Now Weibo have beaten Top and JDG. So going into the year, those 3 were the top dogs, right? So we've seen Weibo beat both of them, but lose to BLG. BLG considered to be the 4th best team, losing to We. So all we can really draw from this is that the LPL is a mess right now. Now, the thing that I think is going to really matter is the way I view both of these teams differently than Top is that I think both of these 2 teams need time. JDG need time to work in Knight and Ruler. With Kanavi and 369 and missing, you have literally like 5 players that you could argue are the best in their role in the world. I think people can make those arguments. And then you got Weibo, a team that's got some older players that used to be number one in their roles or top 3 to 5. Outside of Light and, well, Crisp probably has been considered that, but Light definitely not by the majority of people. But they need time to grow as well in Vibe. And frankly, BLG definitely do as well. So there's a lot of teams in the LPL that made a lot of movement this past offseason that we're seeing glimpses of what they're capable of, but we have to keep in mind there is more on the bone there. LEC, Heretics, and Vitality. Vitality somehow squeak out a win 2-1. They frankly, I could say they didn't deserve it. It was ugly. It was ugly. Vitality's problems from week 3 did not stop. Let's put it that way. 1-2-1. Neon, 11-4 and 13. 28% of damage was MVP. Kaiser, best KDA, 3-7-23. Ruby, 6-4-20. 33% of damage for Heretics. Game 3 was his best game, I think. The bot lane decided this matchup in the first 2 games at like 3 minutes. Bo took a trip bot lane at early on in game 1, got Neon Kaiser ahead, and the Ezreal Karma lane just railed Heretics. Jack had no chance on Caitlyn. Mursa had no chance on Varus. It was ugly. Bo on Kindred. Photon, I thought, was doing his thing in top lane against Eevee. Eevee Sante. Terrible pick. Terrible spot for it. They should have probably locked in Lux there for Mursa and just let the Sante fall. Eevee has picks. Like, the thing is, like, everyone thinks that Eevee can only play Sante. Look at the guy's Game of Legend page. Really, he can only play Gnar when you look at that. But there are a lot of champions he's played 10 or so times in his career that he could pull out. The Urgot, the Mordekaiser, TK is not very great, but he's played it a bunch. Shen, Lilia, Set. I'm not saying these champions are good. The fact is, you can find spots to probably play these. He is not a K'Sante one trick. So game 1 went Vitality's way. Game 2, Jack, Spectra, and Mursa dominated the 2v2 single-handedly. Mursa landed his first 3 hooks. First one, blew Neon's sums. Second one, killed Kaiser. Third one was part of a dive that was a 2 kill. So they're up 3-0 in bot lane by like 5 minutes. Mursa was MVP of that one. And it was over. It was over. As far as I'm concerned. The rest of the game, it was a blur. Both games were under 25 minutes. Game 3, though, a complete disaster by both teams. A cluster, back and forth, back and forth. Neither bot lane doing great. However, Neon ends up being MVP because in the final team fight that really sealed it for Vitality, he flashed onto Jack and killed him, right? And really got after him. And that resulted in what would be a snowball. They end up forcing the flash away. They go and take the Drake. This, prevents a lot of, I think this allowed them to go to Soul Point, which then they would take Ocean Soul and then they would win. So I think that's how it went. A lot of games to think about, but they get that, and Bo's Kindred was okay in game 3, I thought. Bo is still not playing as well as he did early on, as people start figuring him out, and now he has to adjust a bit maybe and adjust to his teammates. So, that was the thing. I thought that Heretics played a lot closer than I thought they would have. I thought Vitality had this one pretty easily. Yankos in game 3 inted his face off on Vi, dying like 8 times, going in by himself. Quite a few times getting caught out in the jungle. Like, he played absolutely dog. It was so bad. So, frankly, I thought he was playing for Vitality. He played so poorly. SK and Koi. So, SK 19th in the power rankings. Koi not 19th, and they 2-0'd SK. I'm not as shocked by this. Despite picking SK to win, I did not. I could see this. Comp 11, 2, 14, 34% of damage. Malrung 4, 0, 23 was MVP. Yes, Malrung did not die. Game 2, I think he went 0, 0, 18. Certus 2-10-3, 28% of damage for SK. This game was decided in the mid and jungle area. Game 1, 2v2 kill down in mid, not 2v2. Well, it was 2v2. Mid jungle duo, 2-0. Larson got ahead. Malrung made things happen. Malrung got all over the damn place as Marcoon did nothing. So, that was the thing. Like, Malrung made things happen. He out-farmed you. So, what are you doing? Sure, he died. You got to do something, man. People ride Malrung because he doesn't farm. How is he ahead of you in farm? And he's making more things happen. He's getting everybody ahead on his team. Like, Koi looked like a playoff team and SK looked like a young team that is not used to this moment, which is true. And that's why I'm saying I'm not, sorry, my nose itches. I keep rubbing it. That's why I'm not surprised. They need this. JDG needed this loss too, as far as I'm concerned, but for a different reason. SK, god damn it. Sorry. SK, very young. Irrelevant, played with Misfits last year. He had some playoff experience. Marcoon, I think, with XL may have gotten into a playoff series, maybe not. But the other three, Certes, Certes, Exakick, and DOS have not. That bot lane did very well, I thought, in this series. Got a couple 2v2 kills. Now game 2, little rougher. Malrung went down there a couple times, really put them in a hole. But I thought game 1 they played very well, got the better of Comp and Trimby despite the loss, and that's something to hang their hat on. You know, they still have a loser bracket opportunity to play Heretics, but at the same time, you know, I mean, this is a good learning experience for them for the spring split, in my opinion. Like, this will provide them something so when they go into spring and they go and have to do this again, hopefully, for their sake, they'll be more prepared for it. And they'll be like, okay, this playoffs are a different atmosphere. Like, this is the equivalent of playoffs. I know it's like the in-between because it's groups and it's 8 out of 10 teams, but it's like it's a different atmosphere here. So, that's it for the recap for today. Now into the sneak peek for tomorrow's games. Okay, hopefully you can read the bottom of that. If not, I'm reading it anyways. You guys can't read most of the writing regardless. LPL, Ninja in Pajamas, and LNG start us off tomorrow. NIP 1-4, LNG 8th in my power rankings, 4-0. I think LNG are the last undefeated team in the East. NIP lost to EDG. LNG beat OMG. They last played in regional playoffs in summer. LNG won 3-1. Only 2 of the 10 players overlapped from that series. Tarzan for LNG and Fodic, then on Victory 5, now on NIP. Tarzan went 8-9-34. The bot lanes of the matchups highlighted. Fodic has played a fabulous split, I think, despite being on this team. Reminds me of how Elk struggled last year on Ultra Prime, just kind of toiling away. You know, leading his team every game in damage, somehow staying positive in KDA. But with Pout, I think they're a better team for sure. LP and Hung have really outperformed what I thought. They outperformed my expectations. They're playing very, very good League of Legends. So the bot lane matchup should be fun. Team Wii and RNG. RNG 18th, 1-4. Team World Elite 3-2. RNG playing Angel tomorrow. Hart is gone. Sin was listed as a head coach, but it seems like the sentiment was that Hart was running the show, despite being listed lower on the hierarchy. Maybe he was the one behind the Tangwan the whole time starting, because now Angel is listed as a starter, and this is good for RNG because Angel has a better reputation than Tangwan. He's got a lot of experience. Don't put him on Akali. He sucks at Akali. That is not a good read on what Angel has to offer. Last time they played, Week 6, Day 2, RNG won 2-1. 6 out of the 10 starters from that series overlap with this one. By the way, World Elite beat BLG last time they were on the Rift. RNG lost to JDG. But in this series that I referenced, Breathe won 4-7, 16 in top lane. Bubu 5-7, and 17. So the top laners are the only thing that overlapped. Both back and forth playing weak side pretty much. Bot lane, once again, a matchup highlighted Hope and Iwandi, Gala and Ming, as we hope Gala and Ming continue to build back that chemistry. And they play a bot lane that's been playing very well in Hope and Iwandi. EDG and BLG. EDG 16, 3-1, beat NIP. BLG 4th, 2-2, lost to Team Wii. Week 3, Day 7 of summer, EDG would win 2-1. 3 of the 10 starters overlap. JJ went 8-4-14 in that one. Leave, Mako, Elk on. Once again, another bot lane matchup. We're seeing a young bot laner in Leave perform very well, just like LP. Definitely 2 players that we have in the Rookie of the Year conversation, amongst others. Excuse me, amongst others. And Elk has, led like the whole entire league in damage per minute. Like, he is a damage fiend. We'll see if BLG can recover after the loss to Team Wii, or if they're going to tumble down the power rankings this week. LCK, HLE, and D+. HLE 24th, 4-3. D+, 4th, 4-3. HLE beat Bro, and D+ actually lost to KT. Last time they played was week 7, day 1. D+ won 2-1 in summer. 3 of the 10 starters overlap, all for D+. Showmaker went 11, 1, and 20 in that one. Bot lane is highlighted. Viper, Life, Deft, Kellen. We're looking at 2 of the better bot lanes in the LCK. Viper and Life have left a lot to be desired, but they are very, very good. So, got to keep that in mind. They've been winning a couple series now. They've won 3 in a row. They did beat Gumacaria. So, we'll see how they do. If they're going to play a really, really slow series once again, like they played Bro, D+ can do that. Or if we're going to see a little bit more of a Smash Mouth series. T1 and DRX, T1 second, 6-1, DRX 1-6. T1 beat Bro, DRX lost to Sandbox. Week 5, day 4, T1 would win 2-0. 6 of the 10 starters overlap, both supports. Carry a 3-5-19, Barrel 0-4-11 in that one. Zeus and Rascal's the matchup highlighted. Based on how many times Rascal got solo killed by Birdall last time he was on the Rift, good freaking luck against Zeus is all I can say. LEC preview, Astralis 3-6, Mad Lions 7-2, 14th in the power rankings. Astralis lost to Koi. Mad Lions beat G2. Week 2, day 1, Mad would win the time they crossed paths during LEC winter split. Niski went 7-1-6 on an Akali. Dajor 0-5-1 on a Syndra, so the mid lane matchup was a bit of a gap. Kabe, Younghoon, Karzi, Hilly. Kabe, Younghoon have to have a great performance once again if they want any chance in hell of winning this series. Finn's going to have to play his ass off into Chasey, and yeah. I think Elyoya wins this one probably over 1-1-3. That's probably where the diffy will really occur this time. G2 15th in the power rankings, BDS 22nd, G2 6-3, BDS 5-4. BDS beat Heretics last time they're on the Rift, and G2 lost to Mad. Week 3, day 1, G2 would win last week. Caps 905 on a Rise, Nuke 221, and I don't remember what he was playing, Attilia maybe. Yike and Cheo, 2 rookie junglers is the matchup. Which one shows up? Yike has played a lot of carries, not a lot of dogs. Cheo, Wukong has been definitely his main champion. BDS have played very sloppy League of Legends, win or loss. So I don't really know how this one's going to go. Despite G2 losing some games, G2 are more primed for a moment like this. So that's the deal there. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.